Hello, welcome to the second video on fitness for ASPE. It's the final video on this topic. We're going to be looking at components of fitness. Now, it's one of those age-old questions where you're looking at two different athletes from two different sports and you say, who's the fittest of the two? Is Mo Farah fitter than Usain Bolt? And the answer is we can't really answer that question because fitness isn't one thing. It's technically 11 things, but for the purpose of the exam, it's 10 things, i.e. there are 10 components of fitness that you need to know about. The reason I said 11 is that body composition is often viewed as a component of fitness. Because we look at nutrition and body composition in a separate unit in this AQ exam specification, we do have to look at it in terms of a key component of fitness. However, there are a couple of things that we do need to know. When we're looking at components of fitness, there are two general categories. You have health-related components of fitness, and we have skill-related components of fitness. Now that is becoming a more and more common question. In other words, they'll give a question saying, identify and define 3 skill-related components of fitness or 3 health-related components of fitness. So it is very, very important that of these 10 components of fitness, we are aware of which ones are skill-related and which ones are health-related. And through the wonders of technology, you can see that a certain number of lines have appeared, 4 around the skill and 6 around health. In other words, there are 4 skill-related components of fitness and 6 health-related components of fitness. The 4 skill-related are coordination. And I apologise for my poor handwriting, but hopefully you can see it. Coordination. We also have reaction time. We also have agility. And we also have balance. So they are the 4 skill-related components of fitness. So if a question ever comes up saying identify and explain or define 1, 2, 3 or 4 skill-related components of fitness, you can only select 1 of 2 of 3 of or all of these 4. These are the only skill-related components of fitness. So that leaves us with the health-related components of fitness, which are strength. And we're going to look at that in more detail because there's various, not trick questions, but difficult questions that can go up on strength. We also have power as a health-related component of fitness. I'm going to shorthand this one. Muscular endurance is a third, or the third health-related components of fitness. We also have speed, stamina, or cardiovascular endurance, cardiorespiratory endurance, however, aerobic endurance, however you prefer to know it. It's all worth the same mark in the question papers and the mark schemes. And finally, we have flexibility. Okay, run out of space. And again, appalling handwriting, but I apologise for that. You get the gist of it. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at definitions of each of these and how we can better remember them. So there we have the 4 skill-related components of fitness. Now, quite a simple little trick that works to remember which are the skill-related components of fitness. I tell a lot of my students, remember or picture a skillful crab. C-R-A-B. If you can picture a skillful crab, I've got a picture in textbooks of a crab juggling, carrying things, all daft little pictures like that. That will act as like a little clue as to, or a big clue, sorry, as to which ones are skill-related components of fitness. So coordination, reaction time, agility and balance. Which of the skill-related components are skillful crab, C-R-A-B. That's your clue, or your cue, sorry, to use to remember which are the correct components of fitness. Now, what I often find is it works best to think of, or when you're defining each of these, to begin each definition with the ability to. So if you start everything with the ability to, or sometimes the ability of, it gives you every chance of getting the definition right. So in terms of coordination, what we're looking at there is the ability to move limbs in the correct order to produce a movement. Okay, that is in essence what coordination is. You have to move several joints, several limbs, several muscles. They've got to all contract in the same order to produce a tennis serve, to produce a diving header in football, whatever it is. You've got to coordinate those limbs in the correct order if you're going to produce the movement that you want. Okay, so we can try and move that around a little bit, just create a little bit more space down below. In terms of reaction time, we'll draw a line down here for reaction time. Reaction time, again, begin it with the ability to. Okay, now the ability to, now try not to use the word react when you're defining reaction time. It's not good practice to use the word that you are trying to define. So let's try and use something else. So the ability to respond is another way of saying react, but it's going to cement our mark. And what is it? What we're responding to? Respond to a stimulus. And that is it. That stimulus can be visual, the sight of a ball travelling, or a player overlapping us, or something like that. Or it can be auditory, the sound of a gun going off at the start of 100 metres, or the beep going off at the start of a swimming event, something like that. So coordination, the ability to move limbs in the correct order to produce a movement. Reaction time, the ability to respond to a stimulus. Try not to use, in fact, don't use the word react. Okay, what can we then do in terms of agility? If we bring that down here, and again, just to reiterate, the ability to, now agility is not just moving quickly, it is the ability to move quickly and change direction at speed. Okay, so it's not just about moving quickly, it's moving quickly and changing direction. That's the key thing with regards agility. And finally, balance. Again, we are going to go with the ability to. Now, this is quite a technical one, if I'm being honest. Balance, there's some words that come into this. The ability to maintain a state of equilibrium. Coming from the word, you know, we get the word equal from that as well. So equilibrium, i.e. we are in a state of balance. Everything is equal. Our weight is evenly distributed. There is quite another technical way of doing this, and I want to make sure I put it down so that if you see it in mark schemes, you're fully aware of it, and it is a very good definition to use as well. We have something called our centre of mass or centre of gravity. Now I'm going to abbreviate that to COG, centre of gravity. It's an imaginary point midway in our body where our weight is evenly distributed. So again, we can define balance as the ability to, okay, and then if we go maintain our COG, centre of gravity, or you can put centre of mass. And here's another term for you to learn: above our base of support. Now that is a very fancy way of saying our feet in the area between our 2 feet. If our centre of gravity, that point halfway up our body, is right above our base of support, our feet and the area between our 2 feet, we are balanced. As soon as that centre of gravity falls outside of that base of support, if we lean too far forwards, or someone, for example in rugby, tackles us and knocks our body backwards or to the side, if that centre of gravity is no longer over our base of support, we are unbalanced and we are going to fall over. Now that finally leaves us with the 6 remaining components of fitness, which are all health related components of fitness. So if you get given an athlete, it could be a long jumper, for example, and they were to say, identify and define 2 health-related components of fitness for a long jumper, you've got to pick 2, which you think is appropriate off this list of 6. So these are the 6 health-related components of fitness. Now, strength is quite a unique one. Again, okay, I'm going to start all my definitions with the ability to. So I'm going to leave that in that top corner as a reminder, and I'll keep referring back to it. The ability to. In terms of strength, is quite simply produce maximal force in a single contraction. That is strength. More technically, that is known as, because the word is in there, maximal strength. Okay, why? It's the ability to produce maximum force in it. And the key thing here is single contraction. When you're in the gym lifting a weight 10 times, even though you're trying to develop strength, and it is helping improve your strength, that would not be a test of strength. A test of strength would be how much weight can you lift in one contraction, i.e. a 1 rep max. That is a test of strength. Now, why have I put them in this order? Because technically, although it's different, power, again, is the ability to produce force quickly. Now, you will know it, probably for those of you that did GCSE, as speed times strength. Now, this is another form of strength known as elastic strength. Why? Because when you do a powerful movement, the muscles often contract and then lengthen very, very quickly. So it is an elastic movement. The muscle stretches and contracts and stretches and contracts very, very quickly. So we have strength and power, which are different, but they are similar to each other in that strength, traditional strength, is known as maximum strength, producing a maximum force in a single contraction, whereas power is known as elastic strength, and that's producing force quickly. Okay, an example of that would be maximum strength would be putting a weight on your back and doing a squat with a very, very heavy weight and doing 1 rep, whereas elastic strength or power would be putting a lighter weight on that same bar and then doing jump squats, lifting a force but doing it very, very quickly. Okay, even though it doesn't mention strength in it, again, there is another type of strength, and it's called muscular endurance, or we can also call it strength endurance. Okay, muscular endurance, and again, I'll keep doing it, but it's worth doing it. The ability to, okay, repeat a contraction over a period of time. Now, you might think, where do we do that? What's a practical example of that? Those of you that play team games do this all the time. You don't just kick a ball or pass a ball or tackle someone once in a game. You'll repeat that movement over and over again. A more traditional example is someone like a rower or a boxer who has to repeat the exact same movements over and over again until their event is complete. A boxer has to repeat punches and blocks over 12 3-minute rounds. A rower has to repeat that exact same rowing action over 2,000 meters. So there's a classic example of strength endurance. It's got to be a strong movement, but it's got to be you've got to repeat it with a very, very high level of quality all the way throughout. So there are 3 types of strength, and it has come up on the exam before. Identify and define 2 different types of strength. So you've got choices there. You've got maximal, you've got elastic, and you've got strength endurance or muscular endurance. But equally, treat them as individual ones. If you get a question saying identify and define 3 health-related components of fitness, they are different to each other. They have their own names, strength, power, and muscular endurance, although they have a link between them as well. So don't be afraid to use them, okay? Finally, the last 3, stamina. Okay, again, I'm going to do it. You're going to be sick of it by now, but tough. The ability to, if you want to go basic, work for prolonged periods of time. the scientists amongst you, there is a much better definition. It's the ability of the heart and lungs to supply oxygen to the working muscles for a prolonged period of time. I'm going to leave it as that for now, but those of you, if you're going for A's, if you're going for A stars, make reference to the heart and the lungs. The ability of the heart and lungs to provide oxygen to the working muscles for prolonged periods of time. That is a much more accurate definition of stamina. And finally, on to the last two. Speed, again, surprise, surprise, the ability to, and you will not believe how simple this is, the ability to move quickly. How easy is that? Why is it that simple? Because we have full body speed. Someone like Usain Bolt, okay, who has to move his entire body over a set distance very, very quickly. But then we have limb speed. For example, your cricketers, your fast bowlers, they don't run in necessarily that quick. Stuart Broad won't run in at massive speeds to bowl delivery in cricket, but that arm, the delivery arm, will come over very, very quickly, and that arm has got to produce a very, very quick movement so you can get maximum speed on that ball. So speed, the ability to move quickly. And finally, flexibility, okay, you don't need to be able to do the splits to have good levels of flexibility. Again, the ability to, and here's where we need to be a bit specific, to move a joint, come away from muscles, to move a joint through its full range of movement. Okay, now that's important. Muscles do affect your flexibility. If a muscle is short and tight, it will reduce your flexibility. But equally, if you've got someone who is obese or overweight and they have quite a high level of body fat around the stomach, that is going to reduce the amount of movement they have around the hips. So that is going to affect, the amount of movement they have at a joint. So it's not always about the muscles. Ligaments hold bones together at joints. You might have very, very flexible muscles and elastic muscles, but if the ligaments are tight, that is going to affect the amount of flexibility you've got. So flexibility to encompass everything, body composition, ligaments, tendons, muscles, everything. We just say flexibility is the ability to move a joint through its full range of movement. You need to know those definitions. You need to know which ones are health and which ones are skill related, and you need to be able to apply them to different athletes, okay? And that's going to be the focus of a lot of your past paper questions and your monthly assessments.